Meanwhile, the heads of Facebook and Twitter returned to the hot seat, facing questions from lawmakers over their handling of the 2020 presidential election. Facebook's Mark Zuckerberg and Twitter's Jack Dorsey both face criticisms of bias and misinformation.
Censorship is really a misnomer for this hearing. What you've done is to label and to fact check, to avoid amplifying misinformation.
And we got to find a way to make sure that when Twitter and Facebook make a decision, that there's transparency in the system.
Both men, Dorsey and Zuckerberg, acknowledged the way that their companies handled political content, particularly surrounding the election.